Okay, I don't know exactly where you guys left off there, but we should be okay now, right? So, as I was explaining, we have the portals, and the portals are actually managed by a central tile entity, which is trying to keep track of where the associated whale of each stomach was last located in the overworld, or wherever dimension, I guess. So that when you walk into the portal, it dynamically goes to wherever that whale is, or should be, essentially. It's a way that we link these things together, rather than just having it be stored inside of the player data, and as such, we can actually have an entity that can move. So one player could go into the whale's stomach, another player, for instance, could somehow convey that whale to somewhere else, and when the player comes out of the stomach, they'll be at that new location rather than the old one. Makes them much more dynamic and interesting that way, I feel. It made sense for random things to treat their spectral boxes that way, because they're meant to be just one person kind of thing. But I kind of like my version. I like my version a bit better. But anyways, so we've gotten our new blocks to actually spawn, so let's add real quick in the particle effects, and the best thing to check for this, I think, would be Sponge, which has this data value of wet, and when it is wet, it drops. And we just want to go down to the particles, which is, yep, right here. And really, really prolonged, jeez. And we really just want to check if there is no block beneath. So world in dot is air block, pos dot down. So if the block above, so if the block precision we've checked, it's checking is up, and it is tops. I don't know what I was trying to figure out here. I think it's just figuring out a side. And in our case, down is pretty much the exclusion of where we're going to be. We could have them on the sides of the walls and such, but I think it's best to just have it on the bottom face. Why not have both? So like, have them both animated textures and dripping, or what? You're referring to their sawtooth. Or do you mean like have the spectral boxes and the whales? I mean, there's nothing stopping you. They're different dimensions. Absolutely, you could do both. In theory, you could access your spectral box from inside a whale. Although I think spectral boxes are too small for whale entities to be in. Because whales are, like, huge. But I think my last check, they were somewhere in the region of 2 chunks long. Something like that. Whales are big. Okay, so let's see what that drip, drip, drip is like. It's maybe a bit much. I'm getting a lot of lag. What's going on here? Or is that just my... Apparently I've got high CPU usage. I haven't seen that in a while. But yeah, I think maybe dial it down a bit. I like the noise. There's that. Yeah, so the whales are big. They're that big, that's why you can go inside of them and establish a base. There we go. Every 5 random display ticks. They'll do that now. Okay, so D0. Just run next and we'll catch up. I don't know why D0 and 2 were plus equals, but D1 is actually set by its value there. And you can just do minus equals. Minecraft is weird sometimes. But okay, so that should solve that. And then the next thing that we need is to actually add some textures to it. So that means we need block states. So let's go with, let's just borrow that one for now. And this should be whale flesh, I think? Or did I call it whale meat? Whale meat. Still ends up in the place we want. Okay. So we want to get rid of all of that. So type equals 0, type equals 1, and type equals 2. Do the channel points have a Randy your sticks option? I don't think so. Hey Crimson, how you doing? Almost time for sticks. I mean, we had a little break there, I guess. I guess I was still doing stuff, but nonetheless. Okay, so let's say blocks stone, blocks granite. I'm presuming granite is a thing. Let's find out. Yeah. And let's also have blocks bone. Okay. That should be fine. Let's find out. If it finds it or doesn't find it, then we know. Could came to chug? You could indeed, but I'm almost out of tea as is. Which actually is probably a good reason to take a break, so I can get more. Yeah, I think channel points were introduced while you were away, right? Models item, that's fine, because we haven't added that yet. Okay, yeah, we did fix that. Just get rid of that, more or less. I would like to include, like, whale bone, because that feels like that should be a material if you're that much of a monster. But say... white concrete for now, I guess. So essentially, we've got 2 layers of like flesh and then bone as our main thing from this. And you will be able to harvest this stuff. You won't be able to silk touch it, but you'll be able to like cut it out of the whale's stomach, and you'll be able to eat it, cook it, that sort of thing, do other things with it probably, but also it will, when you do that, randomly cause damage to the whale, such that if you're not careful, you will absolutely kill the whale. Are there actual bone blocks? There are! And they break down into bone meal. Which is fine, but I feel like we can make whale bone a bit more useful. Okay, we should be able to see something about now. There we go. Should have gone with smooth granite, but either way. So, now it's looking a little bit more like terrain. It ain't great, but it's there. And it is dripping, in a much more controlled fashion than every single one. So that's good. Grand. And whoop. Okay, so let's add some proper textures to these things, and then the next thing we do is get rid of the water, or we can make the water, we can do the water last and have it check for damaging the whale. I might do that during the break. Anyways, I'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody. See you then.
Feed pixel feed.
Welcome back, everybody. So, just before we left off there, we managed to get ourselves actual block states and such, and actual blocks. So we have whale meat inside of our stomachs now, and we've also given them the little bit of a property here, which is that they will drip water from the ceiling, just sort of randomly. Just gives it that extra bit of moisture, you know, makes it seem a little bit more interesting. So now, since we've got stone and raw granite and all sorts around here, we now need to actually make this place textured and actually not just be bogarting from vanilla stuff here. So to that end, we need to start working on, firstly, block models, and secondly, actual stuff. So let's go back to our things here, and what was it? Varrod block? Yeah, just Varrod name. Okay. So call that whale flesh and muscle, I guess? And I guess we'll have whale bone as well. It's moist. Yes, it's very moist inside of a whale. It's moist inside most living creatures, let's be honest. Okay, what is a block that is just all the same on one side? Block of force, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. So, whale flesh. And we want to change that to a whale flesh texture. And then whale muscle. Second burst, same as the first. And then whale bone. which I don't know that will be very common, but we're gonna have it here. Okay, so that is 3 block models corresponding to our 3 block states, and now we just need to give them textures so that they actually look like stuff. Because right now they'll just be missing textures again. And we also want to grab ourselves. Where are you? There you are. Okay. For whale meat. This will just be the texture. Well, the item. There. Okay. So currently those textures do not exist, so we need to add them. And we'll start off just by adding some really quick and basic stuff. Textures, black. Okay, and let's just clone the iron old, because why not? So call that one whale flesh. Copy the lever, call that whale muscle. And copy, what do I want to go for here? Hive creep, why not? Why not the hive creep? Because I seem to shove that into everything else anyways. Call that whale bone. Wait, no, not hail bone, whale bone. Where'd you go? Yeah. Okay, so there's our 3 texture files right down there. We'll be modifying them momentarily. We just need to actually refresh our block states and such in here, and then if this all changes to completely modded textures, then we know we're on the right path. Whale muscle, call that a big flex. Yeah, if a whale gets like a cramp in its leg, does that make it a weird flex? Halebone, yeah, more like Jennifer Halebone, but sure. Just waiting for assets to refresh here. We'll know instantaneously if this has worked or not. Yep. Okay. Good progress, good progress. Is there actually any... There we are. Yeah. There's some whale muscle right there. Or is this the other way around? Let's see, lever we gave to muscle, so that actually wants to be the flesh texture, so I need to change around the block state so that it knows that. Or I can just hit the models. Whichever one works, really. So let's see, whale meat. So 0 is muscle, 1 is flesh, and 2 is bone for some reason. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Get the iron umbrella, it's hailing bones. It doesn't have legs? Actually... Some whales are bone with vestigial leg bones, correct. I'm pretty sure all of them have, like, a vestigial pelvis, for instance. Like, they're there, they're just sort of floating and not really doing much. But they're there. Okay. We also haven't set up what the particle is on these, but that's fine for the moment. Actually, I think they still do. Yeah, because it's all. I think that includes the, And we also probably need to get their names, but for right now, we're good. Okay. So, next, we need to actually give a texture here. Now, this is where things get a little bit more complicated because it might surprise you to know there are a few actual first-hand accounts of what the inside of a whale looks like. So yeah, this might get a little whimsical, shall we say. Oh yeah, for the time being, until like at least the next break, the hydrate command is actually the eat command, so I have some enchiladas right here. Didn't whales start evolving for land and then halfway decided that actually I prefer the water? I think they were originally terrestrial. Well, originally everything was aquatic, but I think whales do have like large terrestrial precursors. So if we make you chug, you have to shove the whole thing in my mouth. No. Gonna say no to that one. Okay, let's see if we can at least find some kind of imagery for the interior of a whale. Here's a quick lesson in checking your sources, I guess. Apologies, slight graphic imagery here. So, just letting you know that before I put this on screen. Here we have an image purported to be of a whale with 40 kilograms of plastic in its stomach. But if you take even more than a cursory glance, you might notice the slight slight mistake here, which is that this whale is made of plastic. Literally. But Google shows like a half dozen different websites reporting this as a whale dying of eating plastic. Whales certainly do, but this is clearly a sculpture. Just putting that out there. Anyways. Like, somebody took a first glance at that and then did not think at all. Yeah, there is probably going to be some graphic imagery just whilst we're searching for whale stomach, so bear that in mind, everybody. That does seem to be like a pinkish, whitish kind of consistency. Yeah, definitely seeing some pinkishy, whitey kind of textures. If we make you chug, you have to save the redeem until I have liquid. Oh boy. Imagine that. That is a nice look, though. I think we go with something vaguely like that. How is my bookmarks bar so clean? Because unlike Fuzz, don't tend to have like 20 tabs open, and I just actually organize my bookmarks. I also don't really need that for many things. Partially because my main page here has most of the stuff I go to regularly, so. Okay, so we're looking for pinkish red kind of colors, and this is the flesh, so this is the color you will most see, at least initially. When you start cutting away stuff, then you'll see more of the muddle. So I'll have this be the paler of the two. About there, maybe? Yeah, it's about there. So there's our start. Now let's add some texture to this. I want to say just vertical lines. Surgeons report that cadavers did not prepare them for how red everything is. Yeah, that's true. And the vast majority of imageries I'm finding are of deceased whales. So I could not necessarily say for certain if living whales are substantially more red than what we've seen here. let's just start with some nice vertical lines here. We don't want to keep it too simple. So I think someone could get a camera inside a whale and expect to get it back. Eventually. Eventually. Maybe not quickly, but eventually. What goes in must eventually come out. Like, if there's one thing we know about whales, it's that they're definitely mortal. Don't like that? I mean, there's a lot of very good reasons to not like that, really. What I'd like to do is change this so it's a little... No, maybe not brighter, but definitely a little bit more homogeneous, to say the least. Technically immortal until proven otherwise. How big must whale poop be? Most of their diet is water, so I'm guessing there's not really an object so much as there is an emission. You know what, I think it's fine as is. Okay, so overwrite that. We'll refresh that there, and let's see what the inside of our whale looks like now. Do sharks poop? I think so. A fish poop, I guess. So I'm presuming sharks do as well. Okay, I probably want to add some... little bit of, like, rotational diversity or something to this, because it looks a bit too uniform, if anything. Like, not bad, but, Like, I feel like these lines should always be going that way, like, always on an axis. It shouldn't be going like that, I think. So to that end, let's crack open. Let's see, where are we looking? Here we are. Let's crack open our muddler. Well, our muddler. Crayfish's muddler. Okay, and then we're going to need our image. I don't know if Crayfish has updated this to work better, but he has. I desperately need to upgrade. Okay, just paste that onto all the sides. Okay. Right, now which sides are those? That's the east and the west. We want those to be facing... We want those to be rotated then. And I'm trying to think exactly how we do that. I know that's a thing that we can do. Shade occlusion, yeah, that's fine. Like there's a property for that. There we go. Rotation, that's what I'm looking for. So we do that, we can make that happen. And that way the lines are always going down the same axis. And which side's this? North? Looks like it. Yes. Just 180 those so they join up a bit. Clash quite so much. Okay. The classic children's novel Everybody Poops is wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it is. Okay. Let's just dunk that in here. Ah yes, the whale block, everyone knows that. And I need to quickly check how... Let's see, should be block all, I think? Nope, that's not it. What is it? There's a built-in one, and I cannot for the life of me recall what it is. Can we check background? Cube all, there we are. Because I just want to check, yeah, particles. I wanted to check how that was written. Just to make certain that I had that right. There. Okay. And let's make that apparent. Just so that we know that works. Oh, and that was actually modifying that and not the other thing. Okay. Every time you drink milk, you forget the consequence of your actions and chug all of it. Are you lactose intolerant, Dusty, by any chance? Just as a quick question there, no judgments yet. Okay, let's see if that makes our interior here a bit better. You are, Dusty. Oh dear. Did Twitch exist in 2010? I can tell you with certainty, yes. Okay, we have a missing file. Let's find out what happened there. Aha, I see. The texture was misidentified. Twitch was in beta in 2011? Oh. What were we on then? Like Ustream, I guess? Okay, no matter which way you look, you're now always going the same direction. I like the brightness, I think. Especially when you give it some light. I could maybe do with lifting the darks a bit so it's a bit more even. Like I want to lift these, but without lifting the other side of it. Let's check levels again, or curves rather. It's neat that you can do that, but I don't know under what circumstances you would. Was Volts' first midnight? Yeah, that was right. Midnight Volts was my first, I think that was my first stream in general, my first regular stream. Hey Air, how you doing? We are currently attempting to texture the inside of a whale. Chat was way more cursed then than it is now. Oh? I'm trying to figure, is that too, like, yeah, if I just reduce the number of strips, then I should probably do it, actually. You don't count intermittent streaming? Fair. That looks better. I think that's close to a winner, right there. What do we think? Do we think that's 2 lines? Bearing in mind, this is essentially our reference from Pinocchio. I think if I keep that, and I have the lines going outwards, maybe. Looks more like wood? Yeah. I think keep the central line, change these lines to be horizontal rather than that way. I mean, to a certain point, this is going to look like wood grain no matter what I do. To a certain point. When was the first Vault stream? I could not remotely tell you. So why do I suddenly have this like substantial sensation of deja vu right now? Have I textured whale innards before? Right, I forgot there's cave noise in here. I think that's as good as I'm getting for the moment, at least. Let's try looking at this on Moody. Yep.
Price if you'd like some.
Yep. Cute rice is nice. Like, that looks decent. As I say, I don't think it's possible for me to make this not look, on some degree, like wood. That's just sort of that's just sort of something we have to deal with, really. Like, the detail required to make it look like something else here is so high. You again?
Would you also like some salad?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Was that? Oh, there's some rice. Fuzz 2 Fuzzy Boogaloo. We could try having different textures. We could try actually like varying it a bit. Which we might do actually, that'll probably do the trick. Make it look a bit more organic. For that though, I need to reboot this. Well, I don't need to. I will. So whale flesh, meat, whale flesh, 2. Just gonna keep this side on for the moment, just so I can actually reference the color palette used in it. On today's stream, Lying spends 3 hours texturing a single block. Okay, and then Whale Flesh 2 just has to recognize that. And then in the block state, for whale flesh, or whale meat, I think I call it whale meat, there we go. We just need to give it an actual list. Instead of just the 1, we can also just have 2. I did call it _2, right? I'm not imagining that. Yes, I did, _2. Right. And that will mean that there'll be a mix of the 2. Hopefully. Do you not like drawing horns? So I spent half an hour just trying to draw Kieran's horns. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Did you manage it in the end? Came out pretty good? That's good now. And... okay, we can see some definite variation now, at least. I bet that's getting there. I think that's a good start at the very least. Let's retexture. Is that the border? That's the border. Yeah, let's retexture whale border, and that should help it look a bit better as well. So let's see, for that we need to go to the model for whale border. Let's see. It's its own thing, so that means it must have its own block state at the very least. There you are. But I'm guessing, yeah, for all the colors, it just recognizes that. We just want that, I think, because it no longer has any variants, so we just want to make that to model. Far out whale border. need to go into these models and change that about, because clearly it is not dreadfully happy with some of this. Unable to resolve texture due to upward reference all. Which I think means that that needs to be below. I think. We'll find out one way or the other. Yeah, okay. So then we need whale water down here. And we'll give that a very similar sort of texturing to our whale flesh, but we're going to tint it a bit more red. A bit rosier. Because it's theoretically it's on either end of the caves here, so it should be more or less the same material, but you need to know that you've hit the edge. That, and that. And... we're definitely getting there. Muscle, I think, should be pretty much bright red. Like, you should know very clearly when you've hit muscle. In fact, do that in first. Revealing the lever texture underneath here. Sleep time for you? Okay, night, Celestial. Have a good sleep. Let's see, whale water, let's take out the rotation. Whale water probably would benefit the most from more model variants and such. What brightness are we on currently? Still bright? Okay. Not 100%. What do you think? We're getting better or worse here? We could employ some modeling, so the outer edges are actually like more ribbed. At least that would make it, that'll give it more texture. Don't know how that would help that part though. Later part looks a bit too noticeable. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, let's. It's like 5 minutes here before we start the next hour. So let's not go too deep into this, but let's see. Let's go to our block for whale flesh. There you are. And let's create ourselves that public static final, and we're going to call this property boolean ridge, and I think lever is my usual go-to for this. Yeah, probably bool. There you are. Did I mistype the thing already? Yeah, I guess I did. Okay, and there's an actual state here that we use inside of our creep quite a lot, because basically actual states let us create properties that are pretty much only visible on the on like the client side without us having to care about it on the server side. Okay, well, it's there. So let's see, we go back to our whale meat here. And then we need this. There. Okay. So now we need to define how we actually determine if we should have that ridge. And I think the first we need to check is if we have both the left and right neighbors, then we are not a ridge. So let's see if world_in.is_airblock pos dot, it's the north, so we want the west and the east. So if it's either of those, then that. Okay. And we should also theoretically be able to check it based on its position in the chunk. And which direction is that? That's the x-axis, I think. Sticks? Yes, back in 10, everybody. welcome back everybody to the final hour of the stream. We haven't gone quite as much because I've spent so much time agonizing over how to actually figure out what to do with this. But, anyways, what we are currently working on is making our whale flesh blocks be a bit more dynamic so that we can get a bit more detail into the environment that will break up that texture and hopefully make it look significantly nicer. So, first things first, let's test to see if these properties actually work as intended, and see how this goes. This confused me. Are they hiding or what? So that's Esper with the witch emotes with a rainbow over them. I don't know. Are they hiding? I feel like hiding behind pride is a really weird concept. Is it weird to know that YouTube is 15 years old? Is it? I would say it was more like 17. Somewhere in that vicinity. We're apparently missing a variant. Whale meats, ridge, true, oh, did I get the... I must have gotten the formatting opposite ways. Okay. So, blip. Relatively straightforward to fix that. And then later on we can add, we can change ridge a bit more so it can be actually like both directions rather than just the one, but for right now we're just trying to see if it works, period. And then we can give the ridges their actual, an actual specific, like, model. So the ridge isn't just in the texture, it's an actual thing. So 2005, huh, what do you know? Right, 2000... What happened, like, oh, right, yes, 2003 was when Letting Me Run started, 2004 was when I started watching them. Right, now I'm gonna build a little better. Why are we having trouble with this? What's going on there? Maybe it thinks that that is referring to that instead of the other stuff, but it will not matter presently. Last boss bar before reset? 'Tis indeed. Yeah, because we're at 10k. So, grats, Burr. Okay, so, ridge false. True, right there. Do we get another one? Yep, right there. So I'll highlight these edges better, I think. And everything behind it is still off. Good. So what it's looking for currently is... is it essentially an even-numbered x-axis, which is east to west, and is the left and the right unequal? Which does not appear to be the case here, so what's going on there? Let me have a look at that code. North and oh, right, yes, it is on the wrong axis there. It's checking for an air block on the left or the right, and it's checking to make sure that it's, like, that the block in front of it is not the same as the block behind it, essentially. I need fruit lozenges? Oh no, I just ate something spicy. It's fine. So let me see. Is that gonna do the job? I feel like it needs to be more frequent than that. Now currently, it's gonna recalculate it every single time we put it up, but later on, we'll actually just change how it calculates and when it gets put down, because right now, if we were to start placing blocks around it, it would change what this place looks like, and that's not quite what we should. Is it a Wale dimension? In Wales you speak Welsh? I mean, you're welcome to try. I would not even begin to know where to start with that. That's interesting. That's not qualified. But that is. Well, it used to be there, at least. So, okay, we've got a little bit more to do here. So, let's see, that's border, meat. There you go. So let's change that to be force blocks. At least, so it'll be visible. And let's see what that looks like. The dimensions from the block mod in my... that doesn't help me much. The block mod? That's... I feel like that describes virtually every single mod ever made. Place the block and it has connections on each side. Trying to think. Enter it with a calculator like... Oh, right, yes, no, I think I know what you mean. It's the sort of compacting storage thing, like the Russian nesting dolls that you can do with it. I know what you're talking about, but I have no idea what his name is off the top of my head. Am I using a logger? Yes. But I'm using an actual, like, logger class included with Java, so... Yeah, I think Dave used that at one point enough. Okay, so that gives us a bit better idea of where things are popping up. So what we want is to actually have smooth, kind of like contiguous things here. That would almost be a good place to put the bones, actually. So if we just changed it to be, am I on the right point, then we can have it be a different texture at the very least. So let's see, that's border, well, flesh, they are. So let's see, what's it checking for currently? If it's type 1, then ridge should be equal to, is the north and the south uneven, and am I on the line 2? Which predictably has not updated just yet. Not the deep dark. Quite a few. Yeah, I know what you mean. Is it dimensional storage? I can't remember. God, that's gonna bug me now. While that boots up, I'll have a quick look. Compact machines. Right, yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's it. That's the one I remember. Okay, so that is it. Looking at just every second block. Okay. That is definitely looking better. Okay, right. Let's increase the delineation, I guess we'll call it, by... Let's see, how many points do we want in between it? Like 2? 2 to 3? maybe? Do you enter the whale with something? Currently, you just right-click it, because we haven't figured out taming it or such just yet. Let's have it be 3 blocks in between. And let's see, then we're going to need to have a... what's the phrase here? A variable that actually tells us in which direction this should be facing when it's placing its stuffs. Okay, obviously this is not final, but it's looking better. It's looking better. Is it like an extra dimension then? A very small one. It's a complete dimension. It's just filled with delineated stomachs, and every whale connects to a specific stomach. So it's more like a spectral box from Random Things, but via whales. Whales are not small. Oh no, whales are possibly the biggest mob I've added yet. Or among it. And their interior space is 4 times the size of a Random Things spectral box. But of course, if you get rid of all of the... like, it's filled with this material, and if you remove that material, the whale will ultimately die, and you won't be able to access that stomach ever again. So there's an actual, like, upkeep component to it, which is lovely. Okay. So, Ridge, instead of being a boolean, needs to hold 1 of 3 values. So that needs to be property enum, I believe. And then we need to put in, like, facing values for it. Including nulls, theoretically. Yeah, something like 2 chunks long. Need to compare it to the Ender Dragon? I have definitely done that before. Hang on. Let me see if I can pull up the screenshot for that. Let's see. I have a lot of these. 360 so far. Actually, probably a lot more if I deleted a few far back. Nope, I think this only goes about as far back as the start of Hive generation calculations. Yeah. But I did post that. So let me see. Mudding. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we are. Okay. Yeah. There is a comparison of these whales to the Ender Dragon. Pretty big, suffice it to say. You could literally contain the Ender Dragon inside of a whale. They need 5 hitboxes for their body and 2 for their head alone. But yeah, they're big. They're big. Okay, so let's see. There's at least one. Okay, block furnace. That's the one I'm thinking of. Because that has block horizontal, block facing. Block horizontal, block facing has a list of things on the plane. So. Property enum facing, values, there we are, yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I don't need the generator, just need that for that now. And then the values will be enum facing dot up, enum facing dot north, enum facing dot south. Okay, and the default value will just be up. You just say, don't care about it. And what is your problem here? There. Okay. So, now, our ridge value needs to be enum facing. And if type equals 1, we need to determine if there is an open space in either direction, then what are we? So let's see, boolean north equals world in dot is air block to the north. Boolean south equals world in dot is air block position dot south. If north equals south, then bleh, don't care. Else, if north, then ridge equals enum facing dot north. Else, if south, ridge equals enum facing dot south. There. And that's going to cause all manner of problems here, because now we basically have, like, 3 at every point. I can't recall how these are written in. Well, we'll just determine that to be false. So there. Okay. We can probably make this a bit easier here by going multi-part. So, where... hang on, I have a thing for this, definitely. So let's check... Where are you? Pillars, no. Pots, no. Mushrooms, no. Hive creep, definitely. Okay. So, when... type equals 0, apply model muscle. And I've clearly mistyped this. Ah, because it needs to be a list, not a array. That's why. Well, it needs to be an array. It needs to be a different thing. There we go. Okay. So when type equals 0, we're muscle. When type otherwise equals 2, we're bone. Okay. If instead type equals 1, now we can define a list here instead of having it just be that thing, because I think we can. The model is not exactly the most easy of things. So let's see, multipart. So yeah, what we're looking for is type 1 ridge north. Which for right now we're just gonna say is force. And type 1 south. But if it's type 1 and up, then we want this list. Okay. Minecraft 6. What version is Minecraft even on? One? It's currently working up to 116. I should say yes. I'm quite a ways behind because this is 112. Okay. So that should mean that all this is neatly tied up. Okay. Add that there and change this to something that actually has a direction. Let's say furnace for the moment. Okay. Let's see how it looks now. Prefer Famcraft 4 with all the add-ons. Yeah, that was a good time. Since that Azanor is sort of Azanor stopped updating. I think Famcraft is officially discontinued at this point. But Azanor sort of had a product that worked really well. People loved it. It was beloved, and then just sort of kept trying to not have it work the way people liked it working. It was very odd. It's like on a certain level, you do have to sort of build your mod how you want your mod to go. But also you need to bear in mind exactly like what your mod is supposed to be doing that people like in the first place. Okay, grand. So now we've got these delineated pieces and they're facing always inward. Good. So now we need to actually make a change about to the actual, well, we need to make an actual model for these ridges, essentially. Nice. And if I presently just place a block by them, they change. But that will not be happening. When we're done, we'll set those actually when they're placed. Okay, good progress. That's a hot whale. If there's that many verses, yes, I'd expect so. So here's currently our flesh. And I need to remember exactly which direction is north, because that's the face I think that it's going to actually be by defaulting to. Been moving things into a new house until like 50 minutes ago. Well, congrats. Move most of your house today, including a cat. Oh, nice. Okay, so the south face is not needed. Yeah.
This is a chair, and this line G scrum underscore FB is a fox.
Aww. Cutie. Okay, we're probably gonna make this its own texture eventually, but for right now, it is what it is. So we want models, block, whale, flesh, ridge. Okay. Let's just do some quick QA on that. Nope, I want that to be Varrod block. Or Varrod whale flesh, I think. No, block whale flesh. Okay, good. That part is fine. Fix that so it don't keep yelling at me. Okay, so that should be good to go. Let's find out. Might still think there's an issue because I didn't refresh the models, but again, that won't cause a problem. Grand. Okay. Let's see what the inside of our whale looks like now. That is definitely looking better, I think. Well, at the very least, it's a start. I think maybe like the one thing that doesn't quite look good to me is this inset when it's got these on like one of the sides. But we can change that, and then I would like to get it actually be a contiguous ring on these edges piece, but there's almost no way we can guarantee that for points like right there. Let's have a look at the Moody. Okay. Bloop. Why does your chicken taste like fish? Good question. Generally speaking, it's the other way around. And of course, we don't want we don't want to be seeing that. But we are definitely on a good path here. Okay. So, if I change that to be the whale border texture, or at least what something similar to what the whale border texture is right now, then we should get a start on this. In fact, we can probably make the actual flesh texture a lot more homogeneous now. So just close out of that. Don't need that right now. Don't need that either. Would you guys prefer to be looking at the whale innards right now, or like what I'm actually texturing? Do let me know. Texture, texture. Okay, right. Sticking with the textures then. I actually think that's pretty much fine as is. Okay. So then the main problem is just that it's like that. Like that's more of an actual model. But I think that needs to be at the bottom and that needs to be at the top. Or maybe the other way around. Yeah, there we go. That looks a bit better. Okay. Free of 15 viewers say texture. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that, I went the wrong place entirely. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that trying to get anybody in my fandom to actually fill out a survey of any kind is a fool's errand. Okay, so, well, there you are. Whale Flesh Ridge. There, so that shifts it around. Okay. So now we have this as our thing, and then we can change what the we could change the tonality of this. I don't think that's necessarily vital. Make it a little bit brighter though. And then we can go to our whale flesh texture itself and just try and get rid of the vast bulk of this ridge in the middle here. Quite a bit more like mushroom at the moment, but that should be fine. Okay. Get rid of that. Because we are done with that. Refresh that, refresh that. Refresh that for good measure, and... that is definitely looking better. Definitely looking better. So, mushrooms are basically meat? Yeah, they're vegan meat, aren't they, frequently speaking? Right. I think they would look better if they were projecting, but that's just a simple case of modifying this model. So let's import. Okay, image. Oh, right, yes. Image. Imports. Okay, so instead of it being like that, should be a bit more like that. Found a diamond sword-shaped USB. Now you too can stab your computer. Yeah. That I don't think is the updated version of this texture, but that's fine. Once more, I can actually take off the rotation on this. Not that. Hecked that slightly. Okay, export that. Models block. Whale flesh ridge. Good, good. Looks fine. Okay. Refresh, and that should cause it to project into the open space. Which means it should be more flat. Hurrah! So that's actually part of this block, but it's extending into this block now, rather than being inset, thereby revealing some of the muscle underneath. Hurrah! Hurrah! I think that's good. Now what I could also do is have the ridge itself be its own model, and then actually apply it around. So as long as it's type 1, we just always have that, and then when it is type 1 we check it out to see if there's any ridges there that we need to apply. And that would give us more of a like actual thing around it. But I think that's good for now. Okay. So take this texture, rosy it up a little bit to get the border, and I can also start work on muscles very quickly. Hopefully. So let's see, colors, saturation. There. Export as. And what kind of color should the portal be? What do we think? Because the portal currently is still terracotta. And also, yes, it's still... It's significantly harder to notice that at the very least now. There's viscera all over the tree? Where? Hmm? Ribbed for extra viscera? Yeah. I do like that. I do like that, I think. And maybe it should even extend even further out than that, like more into this block. I'm not sure. But okay, that's... We're saying I have one vote for red on what the what texture for the portal. Just noticed the squishy heartbeat wasn't a song beat. There's a squishy heartbeat. What's squishy heartbeat? What color even is a whale's mouth? Well, that part we actually know. At least the interior of a whale's mouth. Like, it varies by species, of course, but yeah, we do know what their mouths, what the inside of their mouths look like. Especially when you have to keep pulling stuff out. Also, that is the stuff of nightmares right there. Those aren't teeth, exactly, but you would not want to be enclosed by them. Don't forget to hug the carol. Yes. Boop, boop, and boop. And that should get us the portals textured, which I didn't really, strictly speaking, need to get out for. Bleh, it's fine. I feel like the portals should be textured. Like, they should be animated. Very subtly, but they should move, I feel. Or give the impression that they're moving. Or wiggling, I guess. Strictly speaking, if you're inside of a whale, the whole thing should be undulating. But strictly speaking, you actually pretty much can't get into the inside of a whale and build a base there, or just have a nuclear reactor running or anything, so, you know. So, yeah, if this is like oscillating in some fashion, then I think that would look better. And this is on bright graphics, by the way, as well. So you can definitely make out the distinction between border and actual like meat. And definitely, of course, as well between portal and border. So let's think, what is the next thing here? Yeah, this definitely needs to be an animated texture, I think. Which will take me a bit of an age, but... I think that is looking better, at the very least. I'm gonna dive that down to Moody and just get a screen of that. About there, maybe. And next I will texture up the muscle, and then I can also add like the bone, and I guess I can make that blubber and just have that deposited around or something. Ambergris needs its own texture for sure. Ambergris takes a very specific kind of appearance to it. Have it like blood pouring down? No! That would give the impression that your whale is mortally wounded at all times. More than one person can be swallowed? Of these whales, yes. You can have more than one person inside of a whale's stomach at a given time. If the whale dies, everybody gets ejected. Whales can't swallow anything bigger than a grapefruit because they have no need to. In short. But anyways, that is all that I have for you all today. All the time I have, at the very least. And my next stream should be hopefully tomorrow at 7. We'll have some new Dungeons and Dragon hats, but stay appraised on Twitter for any changes in that plan. And then on Thursday at 9, we have some more Monster Hunter World. And on Friday at 9 we have some more Bioshock, continuing on through that with our mini security friends. And then on Saturday at 7 we should have the main campaign, hopefully, with the like big boss fight, followed at 9 with the carousel with some random games. And then we'll be back on Tuesday at 9 for more of this, working on the whales. And meanwhile, I do make videos over youtube.com/remembercomic. It's the thing that Moobot keeps telling you about, and it's also in the header, don't worry about it. And everything I do is powered by you at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed. Have a lovely evening, and I'll catch you all over next time.